Welcome back to the Gentleman's Gazette. In today's interview, we're going to talk to Brian Sacawa from He Spoke Style. Welcome, Brian.
Thank you, Raphael. It's a pleasure to be here. I really appreciate the opportunity to talk to you, and it's great to meet you for the first time. It's not in person, but it feels like it's in person. It's always fantastic to meet other people who are doing great things online for men's style, so it's a real honor. Appreciate it.
Awesome. Yeah. What drew me particularly to He Spoke Style is just that you have this fantastic photography and a very good sense of style with unique outfits, and it's all original, and that's hard to come by. So I thought, you're the man I have to talk to for sure.
Well, thank you very much. It's nice of you.
Okay. So, you are a former cyclist. You are a musician. You grew up in rural New York. Just tell us more about you, about your personality, and how you ended up at He Spoke Style.
Oh, man. Where do you want me to start? Let's see. I guess the biggest part of my life always has been music. I started playing the saxophone when I was 8 years old because I had a friend in 4th grade, and I always tell this story. He was like the coolest guy in the world. And most of the people in my school started playing instruments in 5th grade, but we were in 4th grade. He was taking lessons. He was awesome, and I wanted to be like him. I begged my mother to take saxophone lessons, and that's how it started, just because I thought this guy was really cool, and I wanted to play the saxophone just like him. So I don't know, it became like a passion. I loved it. I was good at it. But I practiced really hard. I wasn't. Okay. I had some natural talent, but some people are just really, really gifted, and I wasn't one of them. I had to work really hard, and luckily I had some amazing teachers to help me get to wherever, achieve what I wanted to with the instrument.
So you never started with the clarinet. You always start with the saxophone right away. I think that's quite unusual, right?
No, I did start with the saxophone, but you're right. A lot of people do start on clarinet and then move to saxophone. A lot of the times, at least now, like when I go into schools and give presentations on the instrument, sometimes, so many people want to play the saxophone that they put them on clarinet because there won't be enough clarinet players. There are too many saxophone players.
All right. Awesome. Excellent. I mean, 3 years to this day, you started He Spoke Style. I mean, that's, basically you started in 2013 and you had these other blogs way earlier. Like, how did you get into style?
Well, they say that you fail at many things, and then eventually, like, you keep throwing things at the wall, and eventually something's going to stick. So, I guess.
Okay. All right. Okay. Just
I had like other things that didn't quite work out or whatever, but I don't know. How did I get into style? I guess I've always been conscious of like dressing well and understanding that how you dress has a really direct effect on how people look at you and the image you project, and how you want people to understand you, and your style says something about you. And it also
totally right. It's like people think you're a competent or incompetent, or they make assumptions on your income or the car you drive or hobbies you have based on the way you dress too.
Yeah, and for better or for worse, that's reality. And so I'd always been interested in it, and it's always been something that I understood and had just thought about. So I don't know. A funny story. So when I was at Michigan as a music student, I performed on one of the classes for all the saxophone students, and my teacher and I took my shoes off when I performed because I was performing this piece by Karlheinz Stockhausen, and it required like all this movement, and my shoes were making a lot of noise, and I didn't want that to distract from the performance or anything like that. So I had a lesson after this performance, and my teacher said, "You can't do that." I said, "What?" It's like, you can't take your shoes off in front of these kids. They look up to you, and it's like so even just that, like my appearance mattered to him, and even in this situation, and it was important to him how one looked when one performed, even if it was for a certain thing. So I don't know, to be more specific, when I got it, I guess in 2013, I I was left with, like, I wasn't doing much because I had retired from bike racing, and I had given up running the music series that I'd been running for 5 years. So I've always had extracurricular projects in my life. And at that point, I really didn't have any because I gave up two of like the biggest things. So style, like I said, style is always something I've been interested in, and kind of surveying men's style online, which I really started to get into at that point because men's style blogs really started to kind of become a thing. I mean, women's fashion blogs have been around for a long time, and they kind of have that on lockdown. But men's blogs were sort of, there was something brewing I could feel. And
yeah, I would still say, you know, if you compare men's style content websites compared to women's, I mean, it's an underdeveloped, underserved market. Right. And yeah, so no, 3 years ago, even more so.
Yeah, so I saw basically that there were, you know, two kinds of sites. There were the very like informational sites like yours, very well researched, very, very well written, and tons of great information. And then there were, on the other side, there were lots of inspirational sites, and, you know, usually written by younger folks, taking pictures more along the women's fashion blog model. And a lot of the style, like the inspirational side of the style blogs back then, like didn't appeal to me. They weren't really my style. Mm-hmm. So what I really wanted to see was like a combination of the information and inspiration. So yeah. That was really the impetus of what I tried to do, bring the two together, and that's how I started the blog.
Yeah, and you know, I read your very first post, and it was basically along the lines of, it's a good time to be a man who's interested in style because there's madmen out there, and you know, men are spending more on their clothes, and they become more aware of it, and it's more, you know, acceptable. I mean, at one point in time, you know, men interested in fashion were maybe strange or too female, or potentially, you know, people would think they're gay, or it all came with a stigma, whereas now, you know, it's the most normal thing in the world, even for American men, to be interested in clothes and style. And, you know, people wear man purses in New York, and it's totally okay. 40 years ago, it probably would not have been okay.
Yeah, I mean, that's really the point. Is it starting to become, and has become, okay for guys to care about how they dress in a broader sense? You know, people who've been into style for a long time, that's never really been a thing. But you're right, that there has been a stigma. And I mean, as you mentioned in that post, I point to Mad Men being like kind of a watershed moment for men's style, just like opening it up, and like there's this cool guy with all these demons and whatever, and he's a bad person, but he dresses well and like he looks cool. And I think because of the popularity of that show, a lot of other guys were like, I could do that too. You know, we all have our own takes on how. So there's the rules of style, but there are some rules that should be hard and fast, and there are some that are generally guidelines. And, you know, we all have our own interesting ways of interpreting and bending those rules and making them conform to, you know, our own selves. And that is really what contributes to someone's personal style.
Okay. So what are kind of rules that you would suggest men follow, and what are the ones that you say, you know, you can bend them a little?
Oh man, that's a tough one. I mean, I think all guys should get their clothes tailored. Absolutely. Get your, you know, a really simple one is to get your pants hemmed. As so many people don't do it. And just to the point that like more people are getting interested in this now. I have a friend and he came up to me the other day and he said, "Did you write that post about me?" I'm like, what are you talking about? I have no idea what you're talking about. And he said, "Oh, this thing came up on my Facebook feed, and it was something about 10 men's style mistakes." And I clicked on it, and it was your website. And I read it, and I was like, I do that. It's like, I thought you wrote it about me. And I said, no. But like the following week, he called me up, and he's like, "Hey, do you know where I can get my pants tailored?" So, and this is a guy who had never thought about that type of thing. And, you know, it's good because it's really like becoming a consciousness and people paying attention to style has really, become more pervasive. And I think it's a really positive thing. And,
Okay.
yeah.
It is. It absolutely is. So what is one of the rules that you think that can be bent?
What are some of the rules? Actually, I do have a rule that shouldn't be broken. I'm kind of it's my pet peeve of mine. If you're wearing a waistcoat and with a tie, do not put a tie bar on.
Very good. I totally agree with that.
It's like the Department of Redundancy department. That's one of mine. I won't bend on.
One of the things that always drew me to He Spoke Style was the photography. And you've also done videos, and whenever you put out something, it seems like the production quality is extremely high. How much do you feel or think has that impacted the perception of your blog?
Well, first, thank you for those compliments, because it is something that I put a lot of thought and we put a lot of effort into, is having a very high quality premium product that we're putting out there. And as style is a very visual thing, and if you don't have good artwork to show that, it's really not going to be as effective. So we've always been really interested in finding ways, or thinking about it in a way that, how can we do this, not necessarily in a way that hasn't been done before, because everyone takes photos and stuff, but like, how can we deliver a product that's just like on the quality level a little bit above?
How does He Spoke Style finance everything, or how does it work? Like, what's your focus? Are you more into sponsorships, advertising? Are you working your own products? What's your take on it?
Yeah, no, a lot of the way that we make money is through working with brands on sponsored content. And we're lucky in that, we don't have to say yes to everything. And as a matter of fact, we say no to a lot of stuff just because, we've cultivated a certain brand image, which is one of quality and, slightly aspirational and more of a luxury idea of things. So we're not working with fast fashion retailers. We're not working, we're lucky in that we were able to carve out a niche for ourselves, where we can, exist in this space and be one of the few people who is making this kind of like luxury content and doing content series and content packages for brands who want a different take on men's style and lifestyle, rather than just your boilerplate outfit post, if you will. So that's one of the things also about working with so many creative people and have great ideas is we're trying to take what we do to a different level and offer brands something, a partnership, rather than just being a mouthpiece for what they want to say, but like to be a creative partner in the projects, rather than, and that's one of the things that really sets us apart, is that we're one of the few websites, I think, in the men's space right now that are doing these like bigger kind of all-inclusive lifestyle content things, but still folding in the style, which is the main part of what we're doing. We're telling a story, and the story is about
and that's good storytelling. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and as a result of that, we've gotten to work with many great brands, many great luxury brands around the world, and to create content that is a little bit different and a little more, I don't want to say like highly produced, but like just with a different kind of polish and a different take. Like we're putting some time and effort into thinking about the content we're producing, and we've been lucky in that these partnerships have worked out, and that's the main way that we generate revenue.
Okay, that's fantastic. And I just talked to Dan Trepanier from Articles of Style, and they decided we remove entirely from advertising and create our own products, right? And so you say, no, we do sponsored content, but we just turn down what doesn't work, and and work with the ones that we like. And I think both are perfectly legitimate. And
yeah, I think that's very important, because if someone is working with a bunch of brands, or you see that 10 people are posting the same kind of Instagram photo on a particular day. It's like sort of, there's a lack of integrity there, I think, in some way. And like, one post they have some watch on, and then 2 posts later they're wearing another watch. It's like, I don't know. I'm really big on brand loyalty, and I'm a lot older. Not a little older than some of the other people. I'm a lot older, and I think that.
How old are you?
I'm 38. It's funny. I was driving in my car yesterday. I was talking to my mom. I always call my parents when I'm in the car, and it was the very first time I forgot how old I was. And I said, "Oh, I'll be 38 this year." And she's like, "No, you won't. You'll be 39. What?
You're very busy, Brian.
I am getting old. But anyway, back to the point. Yeah, I don't know. I think we're not chasing, we want to tell a story that we want to tell. And we want to control the conversation and put a certain image out there. And we're not going to be pushed around or succumb to the lure of doing something just for the money. Actually, I wrote, this is a really interesting topic to me. And for the 3-year anniversary today, I actually wrote about a 1,000-word editorial about what I think some problems are that we're facing in the men's style blogging space. And like, even since I began the blog 3 years ago, there's been such an amazing change. And it's palpable. So what I get into in the editorial is actually 3 years ago, Leandra Medine of Man Repella wrote this article called "Blog is a Dirty Word," and in it she was saying, she was very prescient and pointed critique of the blogging industry and how it had changed. And I mean, it really did upend the fashion industry back then. And blogs have changed the landscape in many positive ways, because it's given people like me the opportunity to have a voice in the conversation, to have a seat at the table, to be able to share something with people. And it's also, there's just so many positive things that have come out of it. But like, certain bloggers were being very, like, not very transparent. What we were talking about, like, disclosing things and just taking things for free and whatever, not disclosing that's content is sponsored. And there started to be serious credibility and integrity issues. And the old guard,
absolutely, yeah, of course, if
fashion people who had paid their dues and worked their way up from intern to like editor of a major publication, they were mad because, like, who are these people? They can't do this. Like, they haven't paid their dues like us. Like, they don't belong here. They're just popular. And, so therefore, like, that term blog became like very kind of dirtied. But I would say that we're at a point now where, like, bloggers are few and far between, I would say. Like, people who are actually putting time and effort into their blogs and not just writing content on their blogs when they're being paid to. Like, if you look at, we'll have sponsored posts, but like in between that, we're putting useful things that are just telling a story that, like, about things that I'm interested in or that I think people are going to respond to or start a conversation about anything, like no one's paying me to make a podcast. No one's paying us to make, the video series that we did up in New York. No one paid us other than the one cocktail video we did with Absolute. But like, most of that stuff we're just doing because, like, we want to put it out there and there's a story about that we want to tell. There are people we want to introduce you to.
Absolutely, like and this is not easy to make money, right? If it was just about the money, we'd start an Amazon shop and sell some obscure, like, pills, right, or, items from China that we would import and do just that. But you do this because you really like it and you try to make a living out of it. And that's just,
yeah, and
more than fair, right? Because you help so many people in the process. That's just
right.
Great.
Exactly. And we're offering a service. And the service we offer is a for lack of a better term, a portfolio of creative products and services. And we offer a voice, a different kind of voice out there in the men's style, personal style landscape. And and that's attractive to brands. And blogs have really shaken up and changed traditional advertising in a positive way.
I agree with you. I agree with you. So if there was a brand, that would approach you, or in other words, what would be your dream collaboration with a brand?
I just had it. BMW was like an absolute dream collaboration for us. We I've driven a BMW since 2011. And I mean, it's super authentic. I drive
exactly. You like BMW, you drive it, but now they approach you and you're like, hey, yeah, I like this brand. I drive the car. Why not? Right. 100% aligned.
Yeah. And their idea, like they weren't, and this is the type of thing that we've been fortunate to be able to do with a lot of brands like this, is to create a content series that is more all-encompassing. So we were telling stories. We did a road trip across Europe, and we were in Zurich, and we were in Milan, and we went to Munich. And along the way, we met all these really interesting people with various backgrounds. We met a musician in Zurich. We met the CEO of a carbon fiber ski and snowboard company in Zurich. We met Gianpaolo in Milan. We met two guys who own who revived a brand called Cambiaghi. They make bags and hats. And in Zurich, we met with the hotel manager of the, I'm going to say it wrong. It's a Kempinski Ho, Wir Jahreszeiten, Kempinski Hotel in Munich. And our job was to tell the story of all these interesting and amazing people and what they do. But as a travel diary through Europe, driving the car and talking about what they do and how it relates to certain features and functions and of the BMW. So it was it was just such a great project because we got to step outside of our comfort zone, and we had to step outside of our comfort zone and create content that was more immersive, that was more editorial, more lifestyle. So that was really, I mean, that for me was like the pinnacle of what we have worked for, and those are the types of things that we want to keep doing in the future.
I recently read a post, where you wrote about, this is what a day in the life of Brian Sacawa looks like, and it looked like very full. And is that kind of the case every day?
Yeah, I'm always very busy. I should sleep more. I have been making time actually recently to just kind of decompress and read quietly for a half hour, watch some TV, which is a nice brain massage. Either way, just to step aside from the computer, and it's really been helpful for me to collect my thoughts and think a little bit more clearly, because it's so easy to just like, you finish one thing and you're on to the next thing immediately. And that particular day you're talking about was actually a pretty like low stress day. Like I didn't have a ton of things coming at me. I could really focus on like what Rob and I were going to do that day and think about that. There weren't a lot of extraneous distractions. I wasn't traveling, didn't have 100 emails or phone calls coming in, things like that. So
based, on an Instagram feed, it seems like you travel a lot. Yeah. What are your top 3 travel destinations?
Let's see. I love Milan. I really do. It's my favorite Italian city. I've been there a few times now. Milan is an all-time favorite.
For the fashion, for the food, for what?
Good question. When I tell people that I like Milan is my favorite Italian city, a lot of people are like, what? Like, because Milan,
it's not that pretty, outwardly pretty. I mean, there's the Duomo that's nice, they have that nice Scala Mall and stuff. The Scala, the Opera building, they have their gems, but overall, it's not like this pretty romantic.
Right. It's not Florence, it's not Venice, it's not Rome. It doesn't look like typically Italian as you would think, like in a picture book or something. But what I like about it is it feels, because it's not like that, I don't feel it's super touristy, and I feel like I'm really with like real Italian people. Like it feels more authentic in a certain way. Venice is very touristy. It's hard to find the real Venice sometimes, I think, now. But Milan, it just feels so authentic and like true in that way.
Okay, yeah, no, I can see that. That's a good reason, true Italian feeling. Perfect.
Yeah, yeah. I like Chicago a lot.
Yes, I agree with you. Windy City, top.
Yeah. And number 3, if I had to come up with one, it would be New York. But I do spend so much time there, I don't know really that I travel there.
So you mentioned music was a really important part of your life, and playing music and listening to music are very different things. So what's your taste in music when it comes to listening?
That's really a good point that you make there. Listening to music and playing music are very different things. And as a trained musician, you are taught to listen to music in a certain way. And at times that makes it very difficult for me to listen to music because I'm always engaging with it. I'm always analyzing it in some way or, listening to this or that. But types of music that I really like, I don't listen to a whole lot of classical music, which is kind of weird, I guess, but again, like it's an investment to sit down. If I'm going to listen to the Rite of Spring, like I'm going to sit there. Like you can't listen passively.
And you can probably because you know everything. You look for the themes and stuff like that. Other people, I think they can maybe just sit down and enjoy it for what it is. But once you're more into it, it's impossible not to analyze, right?
I can't have it on in the background and get anything done. But I really love jazz. I love listening to jazz. Well, I'm into, there's a new Joshua Redman album with the Bad Plus. That's really awesome. I recommend that one. I love like 70s horn bands and to some extent, especially because like what I love about that music is there's such like a raw energy and passion and excitement and they're really playing the instruments. It's very different than today, where a lot of stuff is synthesized or computer generated. Like these are real people playing and you can feel that in the energy that they're putting out. I also, this is probably interesting, you wouldn't guess it, but I'm like a hip hop fan.
That's amazing. Yeah, that's great. And we had another guy, like his name is Guibo from France, and he was the same thing, he was like hip hop, all the way. And you could not tell by looking at the way he dresses. So I think that's amazing. It's great.
Like, I enjoy the beat of it. Like I'm kind of nerdy and like listening to beats and deciphering them. But I also like the fact that like there's a certain language and it's almost like a code, and people are speaking in code when they're and your job is to sort of figure it out.
Excellent. All right. So one question that's always popular is what would your fans and readers be surprised to know about you?
I probably just told them. Well, I've been reviewed in the New York Times. One was for a solo recital that I did at Miller Theater at Columbia University. And the other one was when I performed as a soloist as part of a festival called MATA, which was started by Philip Glass way back when, and still going strong. And I performed on a Grammy-winning album. There you go.
Oxford or Derby?
Oxford.
Flannel or worsted?
Depends on the time of year. No,
that's fine. Right. That's fine. Yeah, that's fine. So, what do you wear during what time of the year?
No, okay. Flannel or worsted? Worsted.
Necktie or bow tie?
Necktie.
Belt or suspenders?
Suspenders.
Barrel cuff or French cuff?
French cuff.
Undershirt or no undershirt?
No undershirt.
Custom or off the rack?
Custom, whenever possible.
Okay, very good. So last but not least, what can we expect from He Spoke Style in 2016?
Well, I mean, I hope we're able to we will keep doing exactly what we've been doing, which is providing, high quality, original content. hopefully we'll continue the 5 posts a day, and maybe we can even expand, our content offerings or the frequency of what we're posting. In the near future, we're launching a new podcast series that should be up. The first one I think will be up later this week. We're going to be reviving the newsletter and just hoping to engage with as many people as possible and listening to our readers and creating content that they continue to like and enjoy and respond to.
Wonderful. Sounds great. Brian, thank you very much. I'm sure our readers and listeners and viewers learned a lot about you, especially the hip hop part and the cycles. I thought it was really interesting. So thank you for taking the time, and all the best for He Spoke Style.
I appreciate it. Thank you very much, Raphael.